There is a lot riding on British Finance Minister Rishi Sunak today as he unveils the country's budget. This is undoubtedly Britain's toughest period since World War II, and the minister's promise to the UK is whatever it takes. Here's what he is dealing with. Borrowing is at its highest in more than 50 years, and all indications are that Sunak will once again turn to the bond market for funds. The pandemic has ravaged the United Kingdom. It has the highest death toll in Europe. Recently, Britain published its economic data for 2020. It wasn't good news. A 10% economic slump, the worst contraction in almost 3 centuries. Sunak has so far spent almost $419 billion on emergency support measures and tax cuts. Many of these schemes will continue, including the furlough payments, which will go on until September. Sunak will also have to contend with the effects of Brexit, of course. All small businesses, mostly, are reeling from Britain's exit from the shared European market. Sunak is looking to cushion the impact of Brexit. There is also talk of raising taxes. The question is which ones? Let's now listen in to the Finance Minister Rishi Sunak addressing the House of Commons unveiling the budget.
To be a temporary disruption to our way of life has fundamentally altered it. People are still being told to stay in their homes. Businesses have been ordered to close. Thousands of people are in hospital. Much has changed, but one thing has stayed the same. I said I would do whatever it takes. I have done, and I will do so. We have announced over £280 billion of support, protecting jobs, keeping businesses afloat, helping families get by. Despite this unprecedented response, the damage coronavirus has done to our economy has been acute. Since March, over 700,000 people have lost their jobs. Our economy has shrunk by 10%, the largest fall in over 300 years. Our borrowing is the highest it has been outside of wartime. It's going to take this country and the whole world a long time to recover from this extraordinary economic situation. But we will recover. This budget meets the moment with a 3-part plan to protect the jobs and livelihoods of the British people. First, we will continue doing whatever it takes to support the British people and businesses through this moment of crisis. Second, once we are on the way to recovery, we will need to begin fixing the public finances, and I want to be honest today about our plans to do that. And third, in today's budget, we begin the work of building our future economy. Madam Deputy Speaker, today's forecasts show that our response to coronavirus is working. The Prime Minister last week set out our cautious but irreversible roadmap to ease restrictions whilst protecting the British people. The NHS, deserving of immense praise, has had extraordinary success in vaccinating more than 20 million people across the United Kingdom. And combined with our economic response, one of the most comprehensive and generous in the world, this means the Office for Budget Responsibility are now forecasting, in their words, a swifter and more sustained recovery than they expected in November. The OBR now expect the economy to return to its pre-COVID level by the middle of next year, 6 months earlier than previously thought. That means growth is faster, unemployment lower, wages higher, investment higher, household incomes higher. But while our prospects are now stronger, coronavirus has done and is still doing profound damage. And today's forecasts make clear repairing the long-term damage will take time. The OBRs still expect that in 5 years' time, because of coronavirus, our economy will be 3% smaller than it would have been. Before I share the detail of the OBR's forecast, let me thank Richard Hughes and his team for their work. The OBR forecast that our economy will grow this year by 4%, by 7.3% in 2022, then 1.7%, 1.6% and 1.7% in the last 3 years of the forecast. And the OBR have said that our interventions to support jobs have worked. In July last year, they expected unemployment to peak at 11.9%. Today, because of our interventions, they forecast a much lower peak, 6.5%. That means 1.8 million fewer people are expected to be out of work than previously thought. But every job lost is a tragedy, which is why protecting, creating and supporting jobs remains my highest priority. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, let me turn straight away to the first part of this budget's plan, to protect the jobs and livelihoods of the British people through the remaining phase of this crisis. First, the furlough scheme will be extended until the end of September. For employees, there will be no change to the terms. They will continue to receive 80% of their salary for hours not worked until the scheme ends. As businesses reopen, we will ask them to contribute alongside the taxpayer to the cost of paying their employees. Nothing will change until July, when we will ask for a small contribution of just 10% and 20% in August and September.
That was the UK Finance Minister Rishi Sunak addressing the House of Commons while presenting the UK budget. For more on these developments, joining us this minute is our London Bureau Chief Mandy Clark. Hi Mandy, Rishi Sunak has told the Cabinet that they must be honest about the extraordinary scale of the borrowing problem. What is the plan then to deal with that challenge?
We are expecting, of course, he hasn't quite announced it yet, but we are expecting a rise in both the corporation tax, which in the UK is currently 19%, is pretty low in most European countries. There is an expectation that will rise to kind of boost the coffers since they have been spending so much to keep the UK economy and those jobs afloat with the furlough scheme. And there is also a suggestion, although it has yet to be confirmed because he's just going through the budget, that there will likely be a rise in personal tax as well. Now that is deeply controversial for a Conservative Chancellor because the Conservatives are well known for their desire to always cut taxes. But in this extraordinary situation, it seems like the Chancellor has very few options to kind of boost those coffers. So there is expectation on rises on both corporation and personal, but we'll just have to wait and see.
There is some positive news coming in from his address that the UK economy is expected to now return to pre-COVID-19 levels by the middle of next year, which is 6 months ahead and earlier than what was previously thought.
Well, the budget is always very positive. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of those highlights and we'll have to, as journalists, really dig in to find the negative news that might be buried there. But on the face of it, incredibly good news for the UK economy, 6 months ahead of schedule. And also speaking to the furlough scheme, he said 1.6 million people retain their jobs rather than losing it, keeping that employment level much lower than expected. So two pieces of great news that he's highlighting. Well, of course, we'll have to dig into it, but it looks like the UK economy certainly seems to be on the right track.
Leaving it there for the moment, Mandy, thanks very much for those updates while we continue to monitor what the budget has in store for the United Kingdom.